Hi everyone, my name is Megan Elizabeth Clark and I am a freelance copywriter and content marketing specialist. And in today's video, I am going to be talking about tips to use and to think about before you start writing, before you pick up that pen or before you start typing. For anyone who spent a lot of time writing, whether it be research papers for school or professionally, you know there's a lot that goes into the writing process. It's not as simple as opening up a Word document or a Google document and typing, and voila, you've got yourself a finished piece of content. If only, right? There's a lot you have to think about when it comes to the writing process, especially before you even start writing. And this is the section of the writing process that I think is commonly overlooked. We're so excited, we're so ready to just start writing, right? You have this assignment, you have this thing you need to write, let's start writing it, let's get it done. But there's a whole slew of things to be thinking about, no matter what kind of content you're creating, before you even start writing. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. There's a lot, and it is overwhelming, right? To think about all the different things that you need to be thinking about in your writing process, which is why I have a copywriting checklist, which you can find on my bio. In that, click in the upper right hand corner a link to my free downloadable copywriting checklist that I use in my own writing process to make sure I am not missing a thing for before, during, and after I write. So definitely head there and make sure you download that checklist if that might be of help, of use to you. But we're going to be walking through some of the tips on there in this video today. I think a checklist is absolutely vital to have if you are doing any amount of writing on a regular basis. So if you're a marketer, if you're a writer, if you are writing frequently content for your business or for somewhere you work for, it's so important to just be like, hey, did I do everything that I needed to do before I hit publish on that piece of content? This is especially true if you are writing for your own business or if you're writing as a marketer for another business, because you don't want to miss that opportunity to really relate to and provide value to your audience by missing out on some crucial front end tips that you need to be thinking about before you even start writing, such as who is my audience, right? And these are the questions that are going to really drive home valuable content for your business. And you can't really get at those without doing some thinking ahead of time. Okay, so I've done my soapbox. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Let's dive right in. Tip number 1 is going to be ask yourself these questions right here. Who am I writing this for? Who is my reader? Why are they reading this? What do they want to know? What are their beliefs? What are their pain points, challenges, up at night issues? How can I help them? What am I trying to accomplish here? What problems am I solving for them? What is it that I'm offering that is going to help them achieve their objective? Cannot emphasize enough how important it is to do this thinking up front. You might think you know, but until you really put pen to paper and have a good understanding of why am I writing this piece of content, and am I just writing it to write something for my blog or post something on my channel? Or is there actual meaning and value behind this content that I need to make sure that I am addressing throughout my writing? Because here's the thing about writing content, marketing content specifically, it's not about you. It's not about your business. It's not about your team's goals. It's about your audience. It's about who you are writing the content for. We need to make sure that they are always front and center, and the guiding vision of our writing is in thinking about them. Tip number 2, identify a persona or avatar of your audience or of your reader and keep them top of mind as you write. I actually did this, no joke, printed off a picture of my ideal audience, my ideal person that I'm writing for, wrote out all this detail about them and posted it up behind my desk. Why? So that as I'm writing, I'm literally looking at this person and saying, that is who I am writing for. Is the content I am writing meeting their needs, meeting what they are looking for in this piece of content? And that helps kind of keep that top of mind for me as I'm writing. An avatar is handy in this instance because it gives a name, it gives a job title, it gives, what are their interests, what are their up at night issues. It gives like a very amorphous person an actual name, an identity, a picture, so that they feel real in your mind as you're writing. So you're reminding yourself there's real people who are going to be consuming this content, and they have needs, they have interests, they have challenges, and I need to make sure that I'm addressing them effectively. Then the second most important part about defining an avatar is then doing your research to figure out, okay, now I know that my ideal person's name is Shannon. She's in her 30s. She's a marketing professional. Awesome. Let me dig in and understand what publications she's reading, what challenges she's having, what does she like reading, what does she like consuming, what language is she using, what social media platforms is she on, and doing that due diligence. And a lot of this work is going to be done up front. You might already know this from other pieces of content that you've written, but sometimes it's helpful to just remind yourself of this person that you're writing for each piece of content that you're creating, so that you can say, okay, Shannon is my avatar, she's the person that I'm writing for, and I'm thinking about writing this blog. This is how it's going to help Shannon. Tip number 3, make a list of words and questions that your audience tends to use. Find your target audience on sites like Quora, Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn, and read what they are saying. Go through, find their questions, find the language, the lingo that they are using, and you might be surprised. You might be writing a blog post about X challenge and realize there's actually a lot of people talking about Y. And maybe that is going to be better served as a blog post, because there's clearly a lot of interest, a lot of conversation around this, and you could be that top article that pops up on their Google search as they're trying to figure out the answer to this question. I also love diving into the lingo and the keywords and the language that people are using in my target audience, because I want to make sure I'm incorporating it, because that's not only going to make it easier for them to read and digest, but it makes me a trustworthy source, someone who knows what I'm talking about, who they can relate to. That's like, this is someone that knows about this topic and I'm excited to read and learn more. Tip number 4, think about the solution or offer that you are making in your content and ask yourself these questions. What are you offering them? What are you offering them? What is the goal of your content? What are they going to get? What's the benefit? Why would they want this? Why would they want this instead of your competitor's offer? Why is getting your product better than doing nothing? Because guess what? Doing nothing is also your competitor. Asking yourself these questions and knowing up front kind of the goal, the purpose of your writing of this piece of content is really getting at the root of, why am I writing this? And why should someone read this? Just because you need to put out another blog post doesn't mean you should just haphazardly put out content for the sake of putting out content. I get it. Content creation is hard. But at the end of the day, you don't want to waste your time creating content that isn't even valuable for anyone. What's what you are writing different than what other people are writing, different than what other people are saying? A good new idea is one that takes an old idea, reshapes it, adds your perspective, adds your particular uniqueness to it, and makes it something new. Tip number 5. This is the last tip I have for before you write, which is know your call to action, CTA. I've also heard this called call to value, and I love that because it's all about what action, what value do you want your reader to be getting or to be doing after reading your content? Because we all know we are creating content to sell. We are creating content to generate revenue for our business. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. But you're doing it by creating value. You're doing it by writing action-oriented content that's driving them to something. And that something can be as small as, hey, check out our other blog posts, or hey, enter your email here and get our weekly newsletter. Something as small as that can actually be super valuable. It's low risk, big reward, big win for me. I get to learn more. I felt I got value from that first piece of content, and now I'm excited to read something else. You bring them on board slowly, until eventually you're ready they're ready to make that sale. They're ready to purchase, which isn't right away. You know, I really caution a lot of the clients that I work with, a lot of people that I work with, you're not in every single blog post and every single piece of content looking to immediately say, great, thanks for reading now, purchase here, buy now. You know why? Because that turns people off. It's immediately like, oh, I'm just getting sold to again. You know, it's pretty exhausting. Plus, we want to feel like we trust you before we're ready to take our credit card out. And for many people, that's the funnel. That's the process you need to get me to that purchase decision. And everyone's different, which is why we put out the content that we put out, to be able to meet the different needs of our audience and bring them hand in hand to that purchase decision. And so that's kind of what you need to be thinking about, is what is my content aiming to do here? What do I want this person reading my piece of content to do when they're done reading? And having that in your mind before you start writing is going to be super important, so that you can guide them there naturally and not have it feel forced at the end of your content. Thanks for watching, guys. In my next video, I will be talking about tips and tricks, specifically kind of writing tips that you should be thinking about while you write, so as you're typing out your content. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening. Make sure to drop a comment in below if you've loved this video, or if you have other tips that you like to do before you start writing. Thank you for listening. I really enjoyed making this video, and I'm excited to share some more tips and tricks for while you write and after you write. So definitely stay tuned. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.